All right, you guys, today I have a really exciting episode for you. I posted on social media about medically supervised ketamine-assisted therapy. And I have to say, the response was just ginormous. It was something I was really nervous to post about because it's a type of healing that I've been using or I've been participating in. I've used to help me heal some very deep wounds of anxiety, depression, PTSD, grief, and the list goes on. And, you know, it's interesting because, and we talked about it in a past podcast where we talked about psilocybin. These things that we are raised to see or believe are harmful or drugs, suddenly science is coming out, totally challenging the way that we saw it and letting us know that actually they're not drugs. They are medicine that are created by God, by science to help us heal, not cover, not Band-Aid, some of the deepest wounds that create tragedy in lives everywhere and really just can wreak havoc if we're not willing to face and learn about ourselves and take the steps to heal and become who we're meant to be. And ketamine has been a wonderful tool for me, the most wonderful. So I'm very excited because today in the podcast, we are going to dive into, I got so many questions, so many people. When I say the response was overwhelming, I want to be clear. It was overwhelmingly beautiful, like hundreds and hundreds of people reaching out saying, my husband has been using, this has totally changed my marriage and his life, or I have been so curious about this. My therapist, my psychologist, my psychiatrist, my doctor has told me I should look into this. And I was blown away. I mean, like 99.9% positive feedback on this modality of healing. And also a lot of people saying, I was so scared to talk about it because I thought people would judge me. So it's just beautiful how when we get past the fear of vulnerability and we share what is true for us, just how the pathway unfolds and lines up for others to heal around us, and it further ingrained healing in me. So today, I have my good friend Molly Nelson here today, who is the founder of Arizona Wellness, which is where I get my ketamine treatments done at. And she also is an integrative health practitioner. I have my notes right here with over a decade of experience helping people heal from the inside out. Molly is trained in gut health, hormone balance, detoxification, nervous system support, and she blends functional medicine with trauma-informed care and emotional healing. Her true magic lies in helping others peel back the layers through trauma-informed care, somatic practices, and the transformational power of ketamine-assisted healing. She's navigated a journey with PCOS, pregnancy loss. I don't even know about that, Molly. Hormone imbalance. And she became passionate about helping others reconnect to their bodies, break free from survival mode, and feel truly well again. I love this next line. Sorry, I'm reading if you can't watch me right now, but she does indeed create safe, sacred spaces for deep healing using science-backed tools, including ketamine. So women and men, because it's not just women, can return home to themselves with clarity, confidence, and compassion. Molly, your first podcast.
I know.
I don't even understand how it's your first because you're just so good at explaining and talking and helping people feel safe. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. So I appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited to have you here today. You and I have obviously done a lot of talking about ketamine. And I know I kind of know a little bit about your story, but for those of you or those watching, those of you, camera, who don't know who you are, what did I miss? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what led you to the place where you want to help? I don't even want to say women, people, humans heal in this way.
Yeah, I think it all started with myself and my own tragedy. Like when I was in my 30s, I couldn't get pregnant and I did not know what was going on. And then I got pregnant and I had a miscarriage. And the grief of like feeling like my body failed me was massive. And people just didn't talk about it with me. And so I became so passionate of like, how am I going to heal my body? I know I'm going to have another baby. And so I started learning about hormones.
Go ahead.
I started learning about hormones and nutrition and gut health. And I found out I had PCOS and navigating that and healing my body. So I just wanted people to have the support that I didn't have.
I love that. So, couple things as you just explain that. Number one, I don't know what it's like to lose a baby. I don't know what it's like to lose a pregnancy. I can only imagine how difficult that might be. And I've had other friends who have lost pregnancy or lost babies. And it's interesting because I haven't been there, but they say they feel like it's their fault. What is it because you feel like you, what is the reason why you feel like it's your fault? I'm curious.
Well, you look around and you see so many women able to get pregnant and you're like, what did I do wrong? Why is my body failing me? And I grew up in a religion that really believed that the woman's calling was to be a mother. And so that was my whole purpose or as part of my worth. And so it felt tragic to not be able just to get pregnant and have a baby that I wanted.
Almost like you're broken,
Yeah.
like you're flawed, like everyone else is meant for this. And I'm not, how did I like not take care of my body enough to, is that kind of what it was?
Yeah, it was like, oh, how do I solve this? If I had the formula, I would fix it. And I just kept trying and trying and trying. But like there's solutions.
I love that this is coming up first because we're obviously here to talk about and inform people on ketamine-assisted therapy. However, I love being able to lay the foundation that this is about holistic wellness. This isn't just about, okay, going in somewhere, which a lot of people have this misconception that, oh, you're going to go into this place, do ketamine, a drug, or whatever they want to perceive it as, and then walk out. You're going to go feel something and then walk out and have it, not really matter in the rest of your lives. What you're saying, and I know what you do at Arizona Wellness, is you are helping women and men holistically heal their bodies, whether it's through, proper nutrition or hormone balance or ketamine, right? There's so many things that you're doing to help heal depending on where someone comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone might come in because they're feeling depressed and anxious, and the ketamine will help quickly. That's a fast solution. But also it's like, how about we do our blood work and see if there's an imbalance in your hormones? How about we check your gut, and see if you have parasites or there's, just any issues in your gut. And so I love that we have a more holistic approach to mental health.
Yeah, I think I've had a lot of people in my life, and I think this is the way I used to think too, is like, if I'm sad, if I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, I just need a pill to fix it. But that pill, and I've talked about this in past episodes, that pill, in my experience and in the experience of people in my life who I love, literally band-aids and numbs. It's like, okay, let me put a blanket. You have a fire. Let me like blanket it and but we're not going to figure out why that fire is like burning in the first place. So as soon as we take that blanket off, it's probably going to burn bigger and worse, where it doesn't even have to be ketamine, but it's like, hey, go into the gut and see what's happening. Are we not absorbing the nutrients that we need in order to have our mental, like the balance, biochemical balance that we need in our brains, or hormones, like what's happening in our hormones. So I love this.
Yeah.
And then ketamine. So I guess from here, I want you to explain, can you explain to people listening, for anyone who's never heard of ketamine, what is ketamine?
So ketamine is an anesthesia that's been used in the medical field for over 50 years. It's so safe. So when you use it at a large dose, you can use it for anesthesia. We use it on a small dose, and it can give you like a similar effects of a psychedelic experience.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm saying, like I don't know this, but I love hearing it in your words. One of the things I heard, because I was very nervous to go into my own ketamine-assisted therapy, because I was like, what's going to happen in my body? Is it safe? Which you guys, I want to address, because that was a question that so many of you guys had. Is it safe? And as I was doing, and I highly encourage everyone listening, don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to Molly. Do your own research on ketamine to see if it's right for you. And just know that what I share here is my experience, and what Molly shares is her knowledge and her experience with the people she's helped. But one of the things I did love in my research of ketamine is to hear that it was an anti-inflammatory in our body. So it does not add to the inflammation. Have you heard that? Is that something that you know about ketamine?
Honestly, I don't know about that part of it.
Yeah.
I just know more about it from the mental health
Okay.
perspective. So I don't go telling people that, but I think you're correct in saying that.
Yeah, I know there are, from what I was informed of and the research I did, there are some things that you put in your body to heal and create, which, by the way, it does create neuroplasticity. Is that right?
Yes, that's the best part of it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the best part.
If you don't know what neuroplasticity is, Molly, can you tell them what neuroplasticity is?
Yeah. So in simple terms, the ketamine will help like rewire your brain. I like to use an analogy. If you were a skier and you went down the mountain, same mountain over and over and over, your skis would make a rut in the snow. And that rut is like the thoughts and the patterns we have. We have like 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% are negative. So that rut in the snow is the thoughts and the patterns we loop on all the time. So the ketamine gives you a surge of glutamate. The glutamate is like a fresh snowstorm when you get off the lift and you look around and you're like, I didn't even see that mountain over there. Look at how much fun those other people are having on that mountain. And it helps rewire and give you new perspective so quickly.
I'm sure you've told me that before, but I don't think I really like thought about it. So yeah, like the almost the soundtracks, and when we ski down a mountain, we keep going the same ridge. Like every time we go up on that mountain from the top and we go down, we're going to fall into the same ridge, the same pattern over and over and over. Yeah. Or as John Acuff calls it, he calls it soundtracks in our mind. Whatever our soundtrack is, we're almost on auto repeat until we figure out how to change it. So this ketamine actually physiologically, this is not just an emotional type of a thing, although it is very emotional, but physiologically goes into your brain, puts that fresh blanket of snow. So when you're at the top of the mountain, you get to choose the path that you go down instead of falling into the same pattern, the same rut, the same track that you're always going down. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it.
So you could like have a story that I'm just not good enough. And you do ketamine and have this epiphany of like, I'm doing the best I can, literally. And that's enough.
Yeah, I like that. One of my favorite podcasts, the one that I listened to before I finally said yes to ketamine because I was so nervous about it, was by Dr. Andrew Huberman, Huberman Labs. If you guys don't know who he is like a world-renowned, highly reputed scientist and doctor of some kind. I don't even know, but he's some kind of a doctor. But the podcast, it's long. It's a lot of it's so far over my head. But I anytime there's some kind of something that I'm considering doing, I'll usually go see first if he has a podcast on it. And he doesn't always say things are good. Like he's very quick to be like, this is something I would not touch. Like, here's what it's used for. Here are the dangers. Here is what makes it safe or whatever. And I remember, did you ever listen to that podcast by him?
It's great.
It's so good. It's so good. He goes into like the chemistry of the ketamine molecule and explains exactly what it's doing. I couldn't tell you, but exactly what it's doing in your brain to create neuroplasticity, right? So I remember when I listened, he said there's essentially two benefits. There's like for someone who has anxiety or depression, or PTSD, there's the automatic relief that's felt. So someone, and it might be you listening right now, somebody listening who feels hopeless and depressed and maybe anxious in a way that maybe you felt this so long, you almost don't know how to feel. You don't remember what it feels like to feel good anymore. To give someone a safe space to experience ketamine-assisted therapy with the right team, there's an automatic sense of relief that comes that's like, oh my gosh, like this is what it feels like to feel good again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember when I heard him say that, I was like, okay, so what? So you only feel it when you take the medicine, right? That doesn't feel like that's a solution. But then he goes on to say, and you probably know more about this, but when you do enough sessions of ketamine in a row, spaced properly, it creates essentially like a momentum of neuroplasticity it's like a boost that really helps rewire. What do you know about that?
No, it's exactly true. So each time they come in, it builds upon each other. And so we usually recommend 6 treatments to get those sessions in. and the biggest transformations happen, especially if they're doing proper integration support or working with a therapist or a coach. It can change lives so quickly.
Is there a timing of the 6 sessions that's optimal? I'm sure you could do it whenever, but I would think it's kind of like with anything, right? An object in motion stays in motion until
Yeah.
acted upon by an opposing force is the law of inertia. So I would guess that like one ketamine treatment would almost, is there a point in which it starts to fall off? Like you almost need to catch it before.
We typically recommend at least once a week. If somebody's really struggling, we'll do it twice a week,
Okay.
depending on how much relief they need and how quickly.
So once a week for 6 weeks or twice a week for 3 weeks is optimal to kind of get you to a place where they would really see the results. What has been your experience with people and success around this? Like, what would you say the success rate is of people that come in? I'm genuinely curious.
I haven't seen it not work for any of our patients.
Really?
Like the biggest transformations.
Can you, like, without giving names, can you give some
Yeah.
examples?
Yeah, we had a sweet woman come in and she had lost her son to a drug overdose like 20 years ago. So depressed, so sad, so anxious. In her first session, she saw her son with angels
Really?
and he was happy and healthy. And she was like, it makes me emotional because she was so relieved. Like, he's so happy and he's loved. And it changed her whole life to know that he was okay. And we have like a sweet couple that was on the verge of divorce, and they came and did ketamine. And he was retired. He had no purpose in life, retired doctor, didn't believe in God. They were going to get divorced. And like they go to church together, they travel together. He like has hope. It's like the biggest honor to witness the transformations.
I have chills.
Mhm.
I have chills. I know. I don't know how many sessions I've done in the past couple of years, but just to kind of, since we're talking about stories, I think I talked about some of this in an earlier podcast I did on ketamine, but I didn't really share as much, right? But it has been life-changing for me. And I tell anyone who asks me, I always say it's almost like there's 2 parts for me. There's like I know I'm going to go in with an intention. So, and I know you guys, encourage the same thing. You go
Yes.
in with an intention. Intention is huge. And one of the best pieces of advice that the guy who initially did my first ketamine treatment, he had said, look for the light. That was his thing. Look for the light, because everywhere you go, there's either light or darkness, and the medicine will take you where that spark, whatever you're searching for is where it will take you.
Mhm.
So if you're searching for, hard, or if you put the lens on, you're going to go into a lot of hard, and that's not even a bad thing, right? Whatever
Right.
you go into in the medicine is beautiful. But for me, every single time there's things are brought in front of me that I need to look at, whether it was part of my intention or not. Always. It's like in the kindest way, it like smacks you in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is like, one of my other friends had called it a God smack. It truly is like God smacks you in the face and says, oh yeah, here's what you need to look at. Like it's there. It's there for you. But it's with the most warm, beautiful blanket of love is the best way for me to explain it. So I do have, everyone I want to ask you about what you've heard people experience. I experience almost like visions. It's a little different every time, actually. Sometimes it's vision. Sometimes it's just calm and peace. And just, I am the universe. Like literally, I'm like, I don't have a body anymore. I am like just matter of the universe, and everything makes sense. My fear of death, my fear of not knowing what really exists outside of this world suddenly goes away. And I feel like I can see that we are all connected in the most beautiful way, right? So that is great for me. The first ketamine session I had was not long after Dave died. I think I don't know if I told you this. Did I tell you this? Maybe I did. But he was in, like, I experienced him in my journey. It was, Molly, I was crying in the middle of it. Because you go in, what is a journey like? You go in, you have headphones on that plays music that's appropriate for that. And you have a mask, and you're warm and cozy and like this reclining chair. You are in the room, or Aona's in the room, or someone from your team who is, right for this is in the room, kind of just as safety to make sure you feel okay. But like for me, I was in that room and I remember crying and there's no real words. So words kind of go away when you're in that state and it's like a knowing, like it's just you communicate without words. But though, if I were to put words to it, I remember Dave hugging me and he wasn't even a body, but he was there. It was his energy was there. And I was wrapped up in his energy, like a huge bear hug. He gave the best hugs. And I remember just like, here you are, like, this is the most, like, this is what I needed. This is what I wanted. And I had said at one point, is this what I need to do to experience you? And that was hard for me because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't, but what's so cool. And I remember going out thinking, oh, that was amazing. And also, do I always have to do that to feel him? But the craziest thing happened. And that experience and that feeling and that hug didn't go away. It was like it was there always for me. I had an incredible experience with my dad in my next one. And it was just so healing in the ways that I needed healing. In my third treatment, I remember having this experience where, and I did talk about this on my podcast, but like I was a statue. Like I actually see visuals, not always, but I was a statue, like this big, beautiful statue. And I remember I was like rising up and around me were these toy soldier, like men. And they weren't just like, they were small. They were wounded men. And in that journey, I had said, I've given you everything you need. Now it's up to you to fix yourselves. Because, not all of my history, but much of my history has been not only trying to heal men, but staying involved well beyond what they need because it's codependency. And so that I always would reflect back on that. And it was like the more of these that I've done, I've done like 8 or 9. But it is true. It slowly hardwires, or I'm not hard. It slowly rewires those patterns. For me, it made me aware of the things that were guiding my life that I might not even have known, and helped me. Once you're aware, awareness is the first step. Then it's like anytime a situation would come up, I'd be like, oh, hold on. I saw this. What do I want to choose now? Even if I chose my old pattern, I was aware that I was choosing my old pattern. Like, oh, okay, I chose my old pattern again. Okay, next time, here it is again. Okay, wait, I'm going to try to choose my new one for a bit. Oh, it's too hard. I'm going to go back. But just slowly over time, it allowed me to kind of create a whole new life. Like who I am now versus 2 years ago is completely different. And I give so much of the credit to this kind of healing.
I love that. Absolutely. When you were talking about Dave and that warm hug, for me, the medicine is like an access point, whether to our subconscious or the source. And we have access to, like, it shows us the access point. And now I can get to it through meditation or other breath work or other tools. It just opens us up.
I like have chills again. You're absolutely right, because they are all things. Once it's like, you only know what you know.
Right.
And your ability to imagine is limited based on the experiences that we've had in life.
Right.
So anyone listening to this right now, you're like, the only things that we know how to imagine are by what we've already experienced or what we've heard other people have experienced, right? This medicine definitely expands your perspective in a way where you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this way of thinking was possible. So when you come out of it, you now know it's possible. And at any point in time, you can almost pull on that thread and see what else is possible in a totally 100% just normal real life state that's not with ketamine. I do love that.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on, I will say some people will mention, I tried it and I didn't like it. So the very first time I did it, I will be honest, I was a control freak.
Yeah.
And I was terrified and scared. And I was still like in my analytical mind when I dropped into the ketamine, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So in my mind, I'm like trying to do algebra to figure out ketamine. And I'm like,
2 + 2, it's equaling 8 right now. This doesn't work.
And so I remember thinking, I don't know if this is for me. But they said, just be gentle. Let's see how the next few days goes. And sure enough, that glutamate kicked in, and something that was really traumatic completely shifted my perspective after the ketamine. And so I always like to talk about, like, your first experience isn't going to be the same experience every time. Because after I did that and I was able to surrender, to learn how to surrender, I dropped in and just talked to God for 45 minutes. And so now, once I learned how to surrender and allow the experience, it's just so beautiful, like you were saying.
Okay, so I love that you touched on this, because this, it's like there are different sides of everything that exist all at once. So any experience in life, it's not all positive. It's not all light and all fun. Like raising kids, it's freaking phenomenal, and it's freaking hard.
So hard.
Like, depending on the day you catch me and you say, how is parenting? I can be like, it's the most amazing thing. And also I could look at something and be like, I'm good. I'm done. So those were really powerful points of my experiences, those experiences. However, you touched on something that has never gone away from me. Every single time I am about to have a ketamine experience, every time I have this, it's like anytime you do a workout that is great for your body. Like I'm going to go into a workout. It's going to be a workout. It's going to break me down before it builds me up, kind of a thing. Inside of I am a major control freak. And because ketamine is a dissociative, right? For me, it's like the more I fight it, every time going in, I have this a portion where I'm fighting it. And I'm like, ooh, don't take away control, because control, I need control. Control is how I feel safe. And that control is a result of me being hurt so many times in my past. And so I try and grasp on, but the tighter I grasp, it's like the more lessons God wants to teach me, honestly. He's like, well, let me just show you, because you can't grasp, but that is a really difficult thing for me. And so each time I do have oh my gosh, there was so much beauty. And like for me, there were harder points associated with my pattern of wanting to control. So I hear you. I actually, and I know how beneficial it is for my brain. I know how beneficial it's been for my emotional state and for my healing, that even though I know there's going to be a portion where I'm trying to not surrender, right? That's a lesson I need to be taught. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. So I think anytime you do anything that's vulnerable, it is scary.
Yeah, I know I've talked to a couple people about it who are really struggling, and their response or their kind of question is like, gosh, but like, what if I'm in the room and what if I look bad, or what if it's hard for me? What if it's this? I'm sure you've had people ask that.
Yeah.
And what do you say to that?
Yeah. So people are worried, like, what if I say something or do something inappropriate or weird or like embarrassing? And nobody does. Like you don't even have to worry about it.
And then if
they
you
just
did, guess
there.
what? You do.
Yeah.
And I love you no matter what,
Yeah. Absolutely.
You do just lay there. You're like so peaceful.
Yeah. And sometimes women are like moving the energy with their hands.
Really?
Or sometimes people talk. Like
really?
I've had a loved one pass. Sorry. I had an experience when someone had a loved one that had passed away and just came in and she talked to them the whole time, and I journaled the whole experience for her. So she had it. Yeah. It was so beautiful.
So I feel like this is a good time to go into, because now it's like, we're like, okay, this is what it feels like and the experiences that are happening inside of me. But like, let's just get to like technicality. So what is it like when they walk? Like, what is a ketamine experience like? Not mentally, but like, so how do we make sure it's safe?
Yeah.
Do you do a medical eval? I know these answers, but why don't we talk through it?
So the first step would to do a medical evaluation with our nurse practitioner, and she's amazing.
I love her.
So not everybody gets to do it. We're very specific to who's the right candidate for it. We want people to have support in place for them. So we would start there, talk about dosing, medical history, and then from there.
From that medical eval though, what are things that would not make somebody a candidate?
So if they have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, they wouldn't be a candidate. Bipolar mania, or if they had a substance abuse issue.
Okay. And is this at your guys' specific clinic, or is this ketamine everywhere? Do you know, like, is it
This is I can only speak specifically to
for ours?
us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've read, and so you guys, just to kind of, I've read other places how ketamine can help with bipolar, but I do your own research, find your own places nearby. Are there physical conditions that would, like, ketamine's not safe for someone who has any kind of, like, I know, for example, someone couldn't do uh, certain forms of therapy if they have heart conditions or if they have high blood pressure or if they're on an SSRI.
Mhm.
Would that stop if someone's on an SSRI, or would that stop them from ketamine?
No, you can be on an
Isn't that
SRS.
awesome?
Yeah,
I knew this
answer. So you can be on an SSRI or a medicine for anxiety, and you can still do ketamine.
And
It's
can you
part
be
of
on
it.
blood pressure medication, or is that
Yeah.
how cool is
Yeah.
this?
Mhm.
Yeah. So those blood pressure medication, SSRI, which I know pulls people out of the running for other types of treatments, like medically supervised substance type treatments. But I love that ketamine. It's like, no, it's safe for your body. If you're on Lexapro or Wellbutrin or a blood pressure medication, or fill in the gap, it is safe for you to do ketamine because it's a low dose
Mhm.
of, just to kind of summarize what she said, it's a low dose anesthetic that will, that when done properly, will help drop you into this amazingly therapeutic state.
Yes.
I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've done the medical eval. They're a candidate.
Mhm.
Then what happens from there?
Yeah. So then we would schedule their first ketamine session. We send them home with a guide of like how to prepare. We wanted to have a ride. You want to have an intention in mind.
Mhm.
You skip breakfast that morning. And then when you get there, we do check your blood pressure. We talk about the intention that you have for it.
Mhm.
And then we just get you really cozy in the bed.
Mm.
We'd separate it into 2 injections. The first injection is really little. It's just for your body to get comfortable
To
with
feel
the
it.
feel the
Yeah.
medicine, get acquainted with it, and to get you in a state where you don't feel stressed and
Mm.
anxiety, things like that. So we put you on headphones and the eye mask,
Mhm.
and then 10 minutes later, she'll do the other injection in the other arm. She always checks in with the patient first for
Mm.
consent. Like, how do you feel? Do you want to move forward? So you're in choice the whole time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so before we drop into the ketamine, we go through, we call flight instructions.
I love it. Yeah.
and just, talk about the experience and how to help ground. And then we also say at any point, if you need help grounding, you can put your hand out. We'll hold your hand, support you. If you need anything, I'm here for you. And then we journal the experience.
So I love this. And I've done ketamine at 2 different clinics, and obviously your guys' place, which I love. It is my vibe. And I did it at another place that I also love for different reasons before I even knew yours was available. Now, I didn't know that there were, it was so widely accepted and used. And I love that awareness is being raised here. Now, the first time I tried ketamine, or like I did the ketamine-assisted therapy, it was an IV. So, and which was great. It was fine it was all that I knew. And so I did that probably 3 times, maybe 4. But the IV, they put an IV in, the whole time you're kind of going. The second they hit stop, and they would tell me, so I'm kind of raising awareness for everyone. What I liked about that coming in new was like, okay, as soon as you hit stop, it actually turns it off. And so you're never, no matter which way you do a ketamine assisted therapy, I never felt stuck in it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I felt in choice the entire time. You could have them turn it up, or you could have them turn it down if it felt like a little bit much, kind of like the NAD IV that I do. It's like, turn it up, whatever. NAD is totally different. But so that was the way that I had it. Then I met you, and I loved, I mean, we met I have so much to say about you too, and I should have said it, but the truth is, that you're like the first female friend that I've had, besides Kira. So Kira's been lifelong.
Yeah.
Aside from Kira, you are the first female friend that I've ever had that had me feeling safe inside of real female friendship. So I've had friends, right? But they come and go. But in this phase of my life where so much has culminated and there's so much depth and nuance and things that I had shame for and marriages and all of this, to feel like I could be around a woman on the regular who held space for all of who I am and all of who I was. And there wasn't competitiveness. There's no, it was just beautiful.
I feel the same way.
Oh.
And it was like divine.
We'll get back to ketamine in a minute.
Okay, I just want to say this. I manifested you in my life.
You did?
Yeah, because I reached out, I think a year ago through your social media to offer you ketamine. And then I didn't
see it.
Yeah, I'm not bitter. But I didn't hear back. But it was like, God's like, hey, reach out to her. And I was like, okay, noted. I did it. And then I have my friend come into town and we're having people over.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to bring my friend over. Is that okay? And you walk in my door and I was like, not a surprise. I've been calling you in.
The thing is, I actually know you can call people in because in my life right now, I called someone in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it yet, but I did.
We can create anything we want. I know.
Coming in a future episode. There's
exciting.
so much excitement about it.
Oh, that is.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes. Of course I do.
I'm sure it'll be in a future episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the power. You can create anything in your life. And now we're close friends.
Like literally, there are things I've prayed for twice a day. Please show me this. Please bring me this. Please. And it actually works, you know?
Mm. Do you remember when you were leaving that day? Maybe we just at some point when we were at my house, I was like, hey, so I think we're going to heal people together.
I have chills. Yes, I do.
And here we are.
I think you might have even said something the night that we met.
Yeah.
I really think you said, I've always had a feeling that we're going to, and here we are.
Not too long.
Oh, I love it. How cool is that? I don't remember what I was saying about ketamine, but we were talking about the difference between IV. Then I'm going to ask you this and then I'm going to tell you my experience.
Okay.
What sets you and Arizona Wellness apart? Which, by the way, you guys, I am fully intend on doing more with Molly and her team. So be prepared because I just believe so much in what you're doing. I love it. We are going to heal people. We are healing people together. What sets you guys apart from other people who do ketamine?
So what I have heard is that patients that have tried it other places, they were put in a room by themselves.
That was my experience prior. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just don't know how I could do that. Because the first time I did it, I was like, am I breathing? Am I breathing?
Yes. You are.
I can't imagine.
You're breathing.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Your body completely is normal and fine. But I can't imagine how I could have spiraled out of control if somebody wasn't in the room with me.
Yeah.
And I was able to just relax. Like, oh, Aona's
like,
in
am
here
I
with
okay?
Me. Yeah. Someone's here with me. So I think the first step to healing anything is safety.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, a huge part of what's different with us. And then we build in a lot of time for integration. So a lot of times people will go have their experience, they're in and out in an hour. So we book it out for 2.5 to 3 hours because afterwards we want to integrate that experience and hold the space for you to talk about anything that comes up.
Yeah, that was one of the things. A lot of people had messaged me and said, hey, I've had ketamine infusions. They did an IV infusion. And I've done 8 of them or whatever. They've done handful. And they said, I feel my therapist is telling me I need a ketamine clinic that can help with integration. And I do know, I was very shocked the first time I went to your guys' place. Number one, just to sit with you before and have someone talk about core wounds and inform on something is just, it was so oh, this is awesome to be able to do this if someone's ready or they want it. And you can do pattern mapping. I know you've done pattern mapping with people beforehand, so they're aware of what might exist. So I love that there's just more to it. Hey, we're not giving you something and having you feel and then leave. Let's be intentional about this. Let's actually figure out, let's do some pattern mapping. What is pattern mapping exactly, if you had to explain it?
Yeah, it would just be a series of questions to kind of identify maybe some wounding that exists in your life that hasn't been healed.
Because that wounding, someone once said, if you don't know what your wounding is, get into a relationship and you'll find it, right?
100%.
It's in your life, you can kind of figure out what it is by what are the common themes of why things aren't working over all of the different areas of your life, because it's likely everywhere. What's stopping you in money is probably stopping you in relationships, is probably stopping you in affecting your relationship with your kids, is stopping all, it's your negative self-talk. It's everywhere. And so you, Molly, you guys will do pattern mapping beforehand, which will then help create intention, walk into your clinic, which let me just say this too, it is so zen. I love it.
Thank
I love it.
you.
It's so like you just go, it's like beautiful and light and airy and feminine, which I think is beautiful for even for a man to kind of feel that nurturing and that love. And then, yeah, it's just, I feel so held the entire time. So I remember I've sat with both you and Aona and just sitting in that room and feeling like every single word that usually feels like too much for other people, because that's one of my things. Am I too much? Is like it's like enough for it's you guys can hold it.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes.
And then I've sat with you and Aona when one of my family members or my friends was in there because they were like, oh my gosh, Heidi, can you come with me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But sitting there and hearing and witnessing how it happens is just so beautiful. You guys truly are attentive the entire time. And then after, you know, both my friends and my family members who I've experienced a session with just had so much they wanted. Sometimes they're like, yeah, like they'll come out of it and say, I don't really know how to put words to what I just experienced. But then it's like, blah. There's just stuff that wants to come out, even if it's stuff from years ago or their childhood. And it's so beautiful to see how you guys hold space. Like the amount of time that you give people to process is so, it's really rare and beautiful. And I'm grateful I get to see you guys do it. You're so good.
It is such an honor because they're so open after the ketamine and they have these insights or something they want to talk about, and to witness and hold a space for them is like my biggest honor in life. Yeah,
I love that. You know, one of the things I do want to talk about before we wrap up is I've noticed, and I know you've talked about the connection between emotion, because some people might be listening. They're like, why does it matter if this stuff comes out? Like, who cares if someone sits in a room and hears me vent? But I know the other side of that. Like when emotion and feelings and experiences and trauma is trapped, it's yucky for the body. Can you talk a little bit about what can happen if we don't allow this stuff to come out?
Yeah, definitely. So when we have trauma and it's trapped in the body, it can turn to disease. So we see so many people that come in for ketamine have autoimmune issues, or because they've been in survival mode, they've depleted their testosterone levels. And so there's so many health issues that come to play when you don't treat your emotional health.
So then do you notice when people come in with autoimmune, with imbalanced hormones, even without touching anything else, and they start doing ketamine-assisted therapy, does it actually physiologically shift autoimmune and hormones?
Yeah, we see it in the blood work. So someone can have Hashimoto's and their numbers can come down. Like it's proven.
Is down a good thing in Hashimoto's? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
really, their levels improve.
So by you giving the space to heal emotionally, you're seeing quantitative evidence that their bodies physiologically are healing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. If you've been in fight or flight or survival mode your whole life, and then you create safety, your body's like, oh, I can breathe again. You can start to heal again.
Well, okay. So I'm going to talk about myself again because that's what I'm really good at. You've known me during a phase of my life where my body was acting out. And it's like, it's funny because I know this stuff with other people, right? It's kind of like we always know it with other people, but then I'm like, no, my body is just not. For a period of my life, different periods, but this particular period that you knew me through, I was putting myself in a situation over and over that I felt it. I felt my nervous system agitated. I felt my body like on guard. And it had nothing to do with it. It really didn't have as much to do with the people around me as it did with myself and my own trauma from childhood that I had not processed. That then was having me put myself in a situation that was trapping emotion and having me tighten up, right? Like it didn't matter what anyone said around me, I was tight. And what was happening in my body, at the same time, it was like I was having issue after issue after issue. I was constantly going in for tests. My blood work, my labs were all over the place. I was like, do I have cancer? Do I have this? What the heck is happening to me? And then when I finally decided to start healing myself, that had me being like, okay, me in this situation is not good for me because I tighten up, I close up, I don't talk. Let me step out of it. It's like literally, I feel like my body immediately started healing.
Yeah.
Labs were showing, different biopsies I was having done were showing. It's like
amazing.
It's miraculous. My lymph nodes that were always swollen are I'm even like not feeling great right now. There's no lymph nodes, Molly.
That's amazing.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It is just like everything is going down. And I've heard, you hear these stories. I don't know anyone, I think you do, who had cancer and started healing emotionally. And what you were telling me about this not long ago. What was the story?
He has 6 months to live. And he started.
What kind of cancer?
I don't remember which kind of cancer. But his wife had cancer and they both had cancer. And that's
right.
Yeah. So they started doing their emotional healing, working with different medicines, and then completely changed their diet. Both of their cancer went away.
What?
Yeah. 4 months. His cancer went away in 4 months.
What? Okay, so now I want to make sure this is awesome because you hit on, it's like this is not just ketamine. It's like, you can't just rely on one thing. It's like when someone comes to me and says, I want to lose 200 pounds.
No.
You can't just rely on going to the gym. You have to eat right. You have to change your sleep habits. You have to, all of it. You got to change your environment, all of this stuff. So it's like ketamine's not the thing, but it's a tool in all of these things because you said he started changing how he was eating. This brings up, I was just having a conversation with someone 2 nights ago, and the conversation was, I was actually talking about what a shift it's been, and this person was kind of hung up on that the things we were taught as children to stay away from, I mentioned it in the intro of this podcast, are now science and the medical industry is like saying, no, hold on, this is actually healing. This is for healing, right? And this person's like, but I don't understand. It's a drug. And then I said, okay, my thing was, anything can be a drug.
Oh, absolutely.
Food is a drug. If you abuse it, food is also the most healing medicine if you use it properly. Like you can heal your body with the right foods. Absolutely. You can also kill your body with the wrong foods. Exercise. You can heal your body with the right amounts of movement. You can also kill your body. You can overstress it and put it in danger with the wrong kinds or too much exercise. So it's like, now we're seeing that. We've known that for years, right? But now we're seeing, okay, something like psilocybin or something like ketamine, it can heal your body. It can help put your body into a state of emotional peace. It can create neuroplasticity in your brain. It can heal you. And then also anything when abused or used improperly can definitely hurt you.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I'm starting to recognize actually this person. Did I tell you who it was? At the end of the conversation said, thank you so much for opening my mind. It was really sweet.
So sweet. I love that.
You know who this person is. But it's really cool because, and that's kind of what it's like. I've learned that I don't know everything. I'm so grateful to be in a day and age where so much is accessible, so much knowledge. I'm grateful to live in a day and age where we live in a day and age where like science is growing and we're learning things that like, gosh, 30 years ago, 40, 50, a century ago, none of this existed. So what a beautiful gift, and what I'm finding for myself, and everyone can have their own stance on it, is do your own I do my own research, and then it's like the things that I choose to participate in, I always do it with caution and in moderation, right? It's like with food, I was bulimic, I was anorexic, I was a food addict, I've been all over the spectrum, restricting, binging, then restricting. And now it's like, I finally have come to this like, okay, appreciation and balance, right? So it's the same. Always do not go somewhere that doesn't make you feel safe. To anyone listening, like make sure if you are wanting to experience or learn more about ketamine, go somewhere that feels safe for you. Molly, if people want to know more, from you, how can they find you?
So they can look us up, Arizona Wellness Center. We're on social media. We have a website. Yeah.
Holy crap. I almost didn't talk about a retreat.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. There's a
Okay.
retreat, you guys.
This part, I'm so excited. Everything.
Yeah, I know. So I've been talking about it on social media. Molly and I are doing a retreat June 26th through 29th. So, some of you might be watching this delayed and you might not be able to make it to this retreat. But if you don't, we will definitely be doing it again. Molly, tell us, I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
Okay. So a little backstory. Like when I knew I had to start doing my healing, I was at the lowest point in my life. I crying in my closet every night. And I was like, this cannot be how life is supposed to be. Like I didn't know my self-worth. Like I was so low. And so I was like, I have got to figure something out. And so I went on this 5-year healing journey. I started with like plant medicine and then ketamine. But everything I learned in that 5 years on my path is what we are putting into a retreat. So it doesn't have to take you 5 years.
I love that. And the thing is, by the time someone lands at this retreat, they've already been putting years in and effort, on their own path. So it's like now they'll get to skyrocket it with experience of yours and all the other women who are putting into this. I'm so excited about this. So yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I feel like, and what I've been telling people on my social when they inquire about it is like, specifically for me, the last 2 years, really it's been a decade, right? But like really deeply healing the last 2 years, and doing a lot of it publicly, like grieving publicly and divorcing publicly, which really has been 6 years, I guess. And just really trying to I would say find who I am, but remember who I am.
Yeah.
Right. Has been challenging and it's been messy and it's been beautiful all at the same time. And so what a gift. I've had women reach out to me as they followed my journey, wanting help in their life and what they're going through, and because they can relate to certain things that I've been through. And so to finally be in a place where there's a space to educate and to love on and to heal in a slightly deeper way or much deeper, but a deeper way than I've been able to before. It doesn't take away from, you and I have had this conversation, it doesn't take away from fitness that people know me for. It doesn't take away from nutrition that people know me for. It simply gives a new perspective. Yes, those are still important, but there's this whole other layer, foundational layer of healing that works beautifully with fitness and with nutrition to create an actual peaceful, amazing life that you want.
Absolutely.
And so I'm really excited to share this with people.
Yeah. And the retreat is exciting because it's 10 women. And I believe you heal the quickest through connection and belonging. And so to witness 10 other women in the same boat as you, like it's like this beautiful sisterhood. You go to those depths together, you hold space for each other. It's a place where women get to come and be away from their families and we get to love and take care of them, and it will 10x the healing.
I love it. You guys are going to love Molly too. Okay. So if they're interested in the retreat, you can either, where should we send them?
Yeah. So either of our social medias, but the website is Rewire Experience. And there's a form. You just fill out that form if you're interested. And then I'll schedule a call with you and we'll go from there.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So final words. Someone's listening. Just feel into this, Molly. And they're really in pain. They don't know where to go. Obviously, we've just given them a lot of tools. What do you feel like they need to hear? Like, what's one thing you want to leave her or him with?
They do not have to suffer alone. Like we would love to witness them and sit with them. We would love to be a tool to help support them. There are solutions and they can be quick.
I love that.
So if this touches anybody, just reach out.
Hopefully whoever listened just had the same relief sigh that I did. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. So fun. I love you.
Come here. Bring it in. Oh.